Okay, guys, welcome to the next episode of the Strong Dad Army podcast. Today, my guest is a coach just like myself. He lives over in the US, but I'll let him tell us more about his story, probably about how we sort of met, even though we've literally never met in person, and you know, where we sort of get our connection from. But please welcome to the show, Ben Anderson. Ben, welcome on, mate.
Hey, Dan, how's it going, man?
Good, man. Good. So obviously people will probably notice straight away from that first sentence, you may live in the US, but you clearly haven't got an American accent. So
that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
So
no offense to Americans, but I've lived here now since the end of 2003. And when people ask me where I'm from, I'm like, okay, well, I haven't become too Americanized with the way I speak yet. So that's good. I get asked where you're from, so that's good.
Yeah, so obviously I do know, but where is it you're actually originally from? Where were you born? Where did you grow up?
Okay, so I was born in New Zealand, in Hamilton on the North Island. And then when I was about 3 or so, my parents relocated to Melbourne in Australia. And that's where I grew up. That's, my formative years. And then I lived there till about 18 and a half. And then my family relocated again to America and to a state called Utah, which is on the western side of the United States, but not California, but kind of close to it. So one of those states kind of, in the middle off to the left.
Cool. So that was one of the things I was going to ask you is like, when was it that you moved over to the US? Was it, so obviously you said when you were about 18, did you say, yeah?
Yeah, 18. Yeah. My sister married a guy over here, and then my parents, so I'm in a family of 7. So my sister moved over, and then my parents were like, well, we should relocate to be close. And then I was at that age where I could have stayed or gone. And I've always grown up, everything I loved was in America. So I was like very naive and like, yeah, let's go, So I was one of the first ones to put my hand up and say, let's do it. And we moved to America, and I was, just a little over 18. So that was cool.
Yeah, cool. So for everyone listening, you're a by trade and profession, you're a strength coach. Fitness people will have a different term for it, but strength coach, fitness coach, whatever you want to call it. But you predominantly coach kids, is that right?
Yeah,
and, majority is geared towards basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that's my niche. Yeah, if I was to call it that. So I currently run a program where it's kind of split with basketball skills training and then strength and conditioning. And so we do like a really good warm up, and we can talk about this again in a little bit, but we do like a really good athletic warm up where we do our YWTs and, just the typical CPPS warm up. And then we go onto the court, we do skill training, have a lot of fun on there. And then we head over to the weight room. And because it's a 3-day program, I'm able to split it. So Monday, we'd be doing a full body workout. So we kind of treat that like our athletic day. So we'll do like sprints and, jumping and proper mechanics. And, it's kind of like whatever, full body. And then upper body is on Wednesdays. And then Friday we hit leg day. So because I've got that variety with the kids, I'm able to kind of get that system in and get them used to a split training system, before they even realize it. So the youngest kids I train are 5 years old, and it goes all the way up to 18.
Wow,
so a lot of variety.
Yeah, that must be completely different to change to coach the 5 and 6 year olds up to 18.
Yep, absolutely, it is.
So these kids that you train, are they just from the local area, or are they sent to you through sort of school programs or any scholarship type deals and things like that?
So yeah, it's pretty much local right now. I kind of haven't inherited the program. Like when I first went there, it was just to be like their strength coach, and they had another guy there doing basketball. And then how it is with ownerships of gyms and programs and things like that. And it's kind of, now it's just me. And so it's basically local, and then it's word of mouth. So I've got some people traveling as far as an hour one way to get there. So so it's become a pretty good thing for the community. And then one of the things I'm really proud of is I'm able to hire some youth coaches. So there are some high school kids that come in that have really taken an interest in the strength and conditioning side. And, they're kids that I've coached as well. And I've asked them, like, hey, would you like to help coach some of these younger kids? So I've already kind of got apprentices, what I mean? And they're able to be molded, and they're not coming in with any egos. And so it's been a really, really cool thing. So not only are we helping these kids, but we're also developing leaders with these youth coaches. So I'm really proud of that too.
Cool. So relating to the whole basketball side of things, is that something you actually wanted to get into, or was it just that was just the place you picked up a job, if you like, the coach basketball kids? How did that work, or has the basketball been a big thing for you all your life? Or
Yeah, it's both actually. Yeah, so when I found this place, I just kind of found it off of a word of mouth thing, again, because it was like very little marketing, but I kind of cold called them, didn't get a response, and then I'm like, I'm just going to go into the facility. And then so I went into the facility, and the way it was set up, it was like, oh my goodness, this is perfect, because I grew up playing basketball, right? So I started when I was 6 years old. I played at a pretty good level in juniors, like I made my state team, and we went to nationals and took second. And then I played a couple of years at professional level in New Zealand. So I was able to kind of come full circle, and I was able to get that professional experience. And then when my playing career was over, and I'm full-fledged trainer, coach, whatever you want to call us now, and I found this place, I'm like, I could, like, if I was to build my own gym, that's what it would look like. There's a court, there's a turf right next to it, and then at the end of the turf, there's like a weight room. And I mean, it was just, it was absolutely perfect, So when I went there, I was just the strength coach, and then it kind of absorbed into, well, now it's just me. And then I was able to kind of design the program the way I wanted it to. And so because there is a basketball court, we do focus on the skills training, and that's a big thing to kids, because I mean, how many 7 or 8 year olds want to just lift? Not many of them, right? But they do want to get stronger for their sport. So even though there's basketball is like a part of the program, I've got kids, especially in my age group that involve 10 and 11 and 12 year olds. I've got a lot of kids that don't even play basketball. They just come in to have fun, and it's more of a social thing for them, and it's just exercise, and it's like their cardio. And then when it comes to the strength and conditioning side, they really shine. So it's basketball is part of it, but it's not just for athletes. It's not just for kids who want to be in the NBA.
Cool. So, and just going off, sort of segueing a little bit, having followed you for a while now, how you were saying about the setups, you've got the court, the turf at the side, and then the gym. I've never seen anything like it, man. I've never seen anything like it. It's like, what I'd expect to see, at a pro level, sports club, but seeing such a big sort of indoor basketball court, like you're saying, then the turf at the side, it's kind of like the performance centre in the UK, which obviously we'll come on to in a bit. But so you're coaching all those kids, and obviously being the Strong Dad Army podcast, you've got kids of your own, you're married, got 2 or 3 kids, is it?
Well, we have 2. We lost a son in 2010, so that was our first child. And then through that, sucks, right? But through that, we were able to find out essentially that we needed to do IVF. Like we weren't able to have children, very easily. So we'll just say that our children were perfectly planned. Like there are no accidents with us. And it made them very expensive as well. But yeah, we've got a 4-year-old named Kemp, and he's awesome. He's the best. And then I've got a 1-year-old daughter named Bindi. So yeah, it's really, really cool to say that I've got like a son and a daughter, and they're a lot of fun. And I mean, as you know, like the way you are with your daughter, like I feel like I am with my kids as well. Like not afraid to be silly, sing songs with them and play, but obviously definitely got to try and be somewhat responsible too. So
yeah, get the toenails painted and things like that.
I haven't had that yet, so that'll come though, sure.
Oh yeah, man, it'll come to you soon. So again, going on, talking about your kids. So obviously, with you, sort of in effect. So do you work for yourself? Actually, if you don't mind me asking that, do you work for yourself, or are you employed by the guys who own the gym, the court, or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm self-employed. I was a wellness coach for a mental health company for a while, and when I did that, they asked me to get what's called my LLC or my business license, so they could pay me through that. And it was all brand new to me at the time. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to, what do I call it? Like, and they're like, you should just call it like Biceps by Ben or something. And I'm like, dude, like that's exactly what's wrong with personal trainers. Is like it's all ego and it's all about themselves. And I was like, okay, I'm working with people who work with mental health disorders, and I'm going to want to carry this business license, through whatever I do. And so I was looking up words in the dictionary, like I liked the definitions of, and breakthrough was a really one that stuck out to me. And I'm like, I'm going to go with breakthrough strength and conditioning. And so that's what my business is called. And I'm self-employed. Yeah. So it's, I never thought I'd say that ever, because it always scared me to be like a small business owner, but I mean, it's doing really well, and getting a bit of a name for myself. So yeah, I'm proud of that. So
Absolutely.
It's good.
Yeah, thoroughly deserved by the looks of it as well, man. So, so obviously, with working for yourself, and I've seen, sometimes I see your posts, whether it's your actual posts on Instagram or your stories on Instagram, and I think, does this guy ever sleep? You seem to be, when I try and figure out the time difference between, which I know works out is 7 hours, but you're 7 hours behind us, and I see the things you put in your stories, and I think it looks like it's about 3 a.m. at where you are, and then the next minute you're posting something at 6 a.m. I think, how does this guy do it? Does he sleep? Surely you need sleep when you've got 2 little kids.
Yeah. I get that question a lot, especially from the kids that I train, because, everyone's got social media now, and I don't sleep that much, but I'm selective.
Right.
Like, I'm very proud to say I don't ever miss a day of working out. So I work out 6 days a week, might take Sundays off. And I always tell people that. I'm like, take one day off at least,
Yeah.
So Sunday is my day I take off. I spend at home with my family, go to church or whatever when it's in. But yeah, I never get to work out at the same time any day at all. But what I always tell people is I would rather personally sacrifice sleep and get my workout in and know that I'm at least doing that, rather than, when you don't get a workout in and you have that that mental frustration, and you just, I don't know. For me, I almost feel like I'm a bit of a hypocrite when I'm asking these people that are giving me the excuses of I don't have time to work out. And then I'm like, well, if I'm to skip my workouts just because I need to get an extra hour's sleep, like, what the hell kind of leader am I? What example am I? So I would rather sacrifice sleep and work out at 2 or 3 in the morning, and then, have to get up and be at work at 6, which sounds crazy and unhealthy. It does sound unhealthy, but I've managed to do pretty well so far. But I'd rather sacrifice that sleep and have the, that workout done, rather than skip my workout just to get more sleep and then like have my body go to crap, if that makes any sense. So I'm never working out at the same time. Sometimes I'll work out at 2 in the morning. Sometimes it's at 11 at night. Sometimes I'll get lucky and do it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. When I'm working up in Salt Lake, because Salt Lake is still kind of shut down right now for gyms. But when my Salt Lake business picks back up again, like, I'll go up there at like 4 or 5 in the morning before I start with Maryland at 6. So it's just, I just know I'm going to get it in, but sometimes I just don't know when it's going to happen, but I don't miss. Like, I've probably missed, 10 workouts total in the last 10 years, if I'm being 100% honest. And that's including surgeries and funerals and all that. So, you can always do it if if there's a will, there's a way, right?
Totally agree with you, man. You can always squeeze it in somewhere. And it's the same sort of thing I'll push towards my clients, followers, whatever. And, and even if you just get, and I know Jodie's even spoken about this in the past, and another guy I know, another CPPS coach, Andy Lavery, is about, you can if you have to break your workouts up into 20-25 minutes, still it doesn't matter, and I've done that in the past. I wasn't crazy about it at first, but there was a period where I had no choice. I did a 20-25 minute workout, and I trained 6 days a week. I tend to do 3 or 4 days a week personally, and then I got to a point where I was struggling to even get that full sort of hour, if you like. So I broke it down.
I wish I could do 4 days, man. Like, but my brain will not let me do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'll do that conjugate kind of split of the 4 days, but then I'm also doing like bodybuilder type workouts as well. Just for the mental aspect of it. But like, to your point, when Bindi was born, she had a really, really complicated delivery, and without going into it too much, but I was in the hospital with her, and I was doing band pull aparts, and doing like just different variations of banded movements. And I had my hip circle, that Mark Bell band that you put around your knees. And so I was the weirdo dad at the gym that while I'm like crying and really like upset about what was going on with my daughter at the time, I'm still doing exercises just because, we talked about this off air, but the mental part of, we talk about this lockdown, right? Like the mental part of this lockdown, I think is probably more detrimental than the physical, they tie it in obviously, but yeah, the mind and the body, they're so interconnected, and that's one of the things I use in my coaching with my kids. It's more about psychology after a certain point. And, without that, like we can, like, we're just missing half the gig, I think.
Yeah. And I think a big thing is making it habit as well. Like you said, you clearly do it 6 days a week because you've made it habit over, you didn't just all of a sudden just start doing it 6 days a week, did you? It was probably a progressive thing. And, I'm the same, although it's not, like I said, I don't usually work out 6 days a week, but I need to make sure I get my 3 or 4 in.
Yeah.
It's just a habit I've built, and it's, and the
same
too for everything.
Even on weeks then when you feel like you're not getting your workouts in and you feel like you might be a little bit skinny or whatever, like you can tell you're one of those guys. They're like, okay, that guy lifts, he takes care of himself, even though we might not feel like it. You know what I mean? Like we don't feel like we look the greatest. Like we take care of ourselves. It'll show. And I think with us, like if you're going to represent yourself as a trainer or a coach, you have to look the part. We're not all going to look like Arnold or, or Sean Hayes, right? We're not all going to look like Superman, but at the same time, we're going to look like we're in the grind and we're getting through the workouts, so yeah, I'm not saying everyone has to work out 6 days a week. That's just my mental illness. Like I've got to do it. But yeah, no, you, dude, I can tell you kick your own ass. You do amazing.
And the good thing is, man, I enjoy it. That's the main thing in it. Enjoying the style of training you do, whether that be the style we do, CrossFit, whatever it is you do. Gives a shit as long as you enjoy it.
That's it.
So just to move on a little bit, then we've not really spoken a great deal about this, really, which is a bit mad. But for people listening, some will know this, some won't. Ben and I are both CPPS coaches. If you don't know what CPPS is, you might have missed Joe DeFranco's episode a few weeks back. And Joe runs the CPPS course with James Smith, which is a course for it's not just for coaches, it's for anybody to improve, your sort of just your education around strength training and everything that comes with it. It's hands down it is the course to do. But I'm digressing a bit. So Ben's done that course. I've done that course online. And I have recently been helping out Sean Hayes, shout out to Sean, at the WWE UK Performance Centre. This actually came about because of Ben, because of you. So obviously I know this story, Ben, but if you could just tell people, because the big thing about this story is it just shows that you never know when you're just putting yourself out there, especially if you run a business. It doesn't have to, I'm not talking about fitness businesses, but any business or whatever, if you're putting yourself out there, like I feel like I do, and like my wife's always telling me that I do. She says, you're always putting yourself out there. There's no wonder people do this kind of stuff happens to you. Is because that's what I do. I put myself in front of people, or try to. But yeah, tell the story about how. So Ben is responsible pretty much for me getting this gig with working for the WWE.
Nah, man.
Come on, we'll not argue about it.
So for those of you listening, I'm not responsible for it. I just helped open the door. That's all I did. Okay, so I first heard of you. Now you're gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong on some of the details here, but Mr. Strong Bastard, right? So they did the SB 911 challenge. Yeah. So Smitty and Joe, they did for their DeFranco Insider, which is like a monthly service, which is something you're doing now, which is really cool. They did this essentially this transformation challenge, right? And there's a program called Strong Bastard 911, and it basically just, it's probably the greatest program I've ever done. I'm actually doing it again right now. I'm on week 3.
I'm on
and week 4, because I'm at the beginning of phase 2. Yeah. And anyway, so they did this transformation program, and people send in photos, and you won, right? The overall. That's correct, right?
Correct.
And then I believe Joe had you on his podcast that same year, and that I listened to that podcast because I listened to Joe. All right. So that's when I was like, oh, okay, this sounds really cool. Then I started to follow you on Instagram, and then basically you're just on my feed, right? So you're on my feed subconsciously. I'm looking at your stuff. I don't really know much about you, but then I'm already CPPS certified, and then I go a second time because first of all, I'm a huge wrestling fan, right? So any excuse to get to the WWE Performance Center is like, I'm going, right? So I contact Smitty and I'm like, hey, even though I'm already certified, is it okay if I come in, like just hang out and help you out or whatever, whatever, is it okay? Can I come again? And he's like, absolutely, come along. So thank goodness he said yes, because otherwise this wouldn't have happened, right? So I come along. It's in Orlando, which is on the other side of the country from where I currently live. And so I'm there, I'm there with a bunch of other former CP certified coaches as well, which was really cool. So we're all like hanging out, talking. And then out of nowhere, Sean, right? And I don't really have, at this time, I don't really have that much of a conversation history with Sean or Joe or Smitty, but they do have a way of making you feel like you're one of their buddies already, especially Smitty. Smitty's amazing, man. Like the first time I saw him, like you can tell when someone's BSing you, and then you can tell when someone's genuine. And the first time I saw Smitty, he's like, oh, hey, man, like, it's like, oh, there's that guy I've been waiting to see. Whether that's genuine, a lot of people like be like, oh, it's just an act. No, man, with Smitty, it is genuine, right? Yeah. Like he knew who I was. He came up and gave me one of the bro hugs that he teaches, right? And so anyways, but Sean, Joe, and Smitty are all very like just endearing. And not Smitty, sorry. Sean came up to me out of nowhere and he's like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, what the hell's this about? Surely he thinks I'm someone else. And he's like, hey, you're from the UK, right? I'm like, nah, man, I'm not. I'm from Australia and I live in America now. It was the classic, he's got a funny accent. He must be British. Yeah. So, but I just said, oh, no. He's like, oh, okay. I thought you lived there. I'm like, oh, wait, what's up? Like, he basically just said that there was, he was looking for a coach in that area to help be an extension of what he does for the WWE Performance Center in the UK, just because there were issues with like passports and things like that. And he was traveling so much, pardon me. And so in a way he was like, I feel like he came to approach me because he was kind of like, hey, if you're from there, would you be willing to kind of help me out? Yeah. And I just said to him, I'm like, I'm not from there. And in my mind, I'm thinking, damn it, I wish I was. But you popped into my mind straight away. And I said to him, I'm like, he's like, if you can think of anyone in that area that you trust and you think is a good coach, will you let me know? And I said, give me a few minutes, because I had a couple of people coming through my mind, but it was always Dan Ogden. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure that guy lives, right where this place is. And so I literally stepped away from Sean and I opened up my Instagram and I started messaging you straight away, if my memory serves me right. And I basically just said like, hey man, I'm at the WWE Performance Center. I might have a really cool opportunity from you, and we started talking, and then I think you thought I was yanking the chain, yeah, because you were very nice, but at the same time you're like, wait, what? Like, what is this? And then, but you weren't too far away. You take the train to get there. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it's not too far away, right? And so I'm like, okay, maybe this would work. So I spoke to you, and then once I found out that you were down to possibly do it, I went and spoke to Sean and I said, hey, this guy, he's CPPS certified. He was the first Mr. Strong Bastard, so Joe already knows who he is. So you can get like a second recommendation from Joe. And then I think he'd be really, really great for what you're doing. And then that was it. And then I just, I connected you guys and through the months that came and just, we talked a little bit, obviously, and then just to kind of see, your first time there and then, when you actually got the gig. And then I've spoken to Sean about you a few times as well. And he's just so proud of you and how well you've done. It's just turned into, nice. I helped kind of open the door, and then you
massively
kicked that son of a bitch down. And now you've got it, man. And I know that we don't know each other that well, but one of the things that I really kind of, pride myself on is like, if someone is in, my inner circle to some degree, like I've always got their back. And then in that CPPS group, I feel like that's pretty unanimous. Like obviously everyone would love to be in your position, but at the same time, I feel like everyone is willing to help out everyone. And I think that was just like a good example of, that going into fruition.
Yeah.
So hopefully that was easy to follow for everyone that was listening.
Yeah. That was a good one, that, man. That was good.
That's pretty cool.
Honestly, thanks massive. Like I said, I do feel like I owe a lot to you, man. So like I said, if I ever make it over to Utah, the beers are on me.
I'll tell you what, I won't do that to you. I'll just meet you somewhere else. Because Utah's not that exciting. You'll be like, oh, they're in the mountains. Okay, let's go to Vegas.
And funnily enough, just as things sort of started getting into motion, and we're potentially looking at booking some dates in for me going down for a full week to train the athletes when Sean can't come over, we got put on lockdown.
Awesome.
So, it is what it is, but, all being well, the gig will still be there for me when everything gets back to normal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, right, man, so almost coming to the end now. So, as I've pre-warned you, and I do ask all the guys I have on the podcast, just to show everyone that regardless of, you're a husband, you're a father, you're, a businessman, business owner, you train a bunch of kids, but something has happened to all of us that's either embarrassed us, made us look like a bit of a, tit, as we say over here, a bit of a prat. So hit us with your embarrassing story, mate.
Okay. This is one I actually tell the kids quite a bit, because when you have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids and you're having them do isometric holds and, glute raises and things like that as part of their warm-up, right? A lot of times there's a bit of flatulence that accidentally happens. So, and I think sense of humor is huge. Like, I think that's, if your personality isn't involved, then you're not going to be a very good coach. Like, you can know everything, you can know all the techniques, but if you don't know how to communicate that and also how to lighten the mood when things get tense, then you're not going to be a very good coach. So sometimes a kid will fart at the gym, right? It happens. And I'll call him out on it, be like, hey, Taylor, you farted, you didn't poop yet or whatever, And so I always tell the story to those kids and they think I'm gross for it, but whatever. But time I deadlifted 350. I had taken 2 scoops of NO Explode, which is a really strong pre-workout at the time. The first time I deadlifted 315, halfway up, pooped my pants, right?
Nice.
Not like the full dairy, right? But I sharded to the point to bail out of the rep and waddle over to the bathroom, right? So yes, that's humiliating, and I can't believe I just told that on a Zoom call on a podcast. But the moral of the story is you always have a routine. So before you work out, if you're doing a pre-workout drink that's got some caffeine in it or whatever, make sure you take your pre-workout crap, especially on leg day. Otherwise, it'll rear its ugly head when you're during the heat of the battle.
Yeah.
So, but I always tell kids that, and I guarantee I've saved them from their own embarrassing stories themselves.
Good effort. That's the mark of a true coach, that, mate. Okay, man. So we're pretty much at the end now. So obviously, I know I follow you on Instagram. I don't know if you're available sort of anywhere else, but if you want to let everyone know where they can catch up with what you're doing on social media, Instagram, wherever it is you are.
Yeah. So I'm predominantly on Instagram. I did do the Twitter thing for a little while, but I don't know. I felt stupid. I felt like I couldn't say anything smart with the 140 characters or whatever. So Instagram is mainly what I do. And so my Instagram handle is @breakthroughsc. And then I do have a YouTube page that's got some like instructional videos. And I released a program 2 years ago called Deadlifts and Dunks. So it was like a jump training program with weights and so it was mainly geared towards basketball players wanting to improve their vertical over their summer. So I did a YouTube page for that. So if you go onto YouTube and you type in the basketball strength guy, then you'll see my ugly face pop up, and then you'll see a whole bunch of videos there. So awesome. But yeah, Instagram is usually the best place to find me. So
cool. Nice one, man. Right, thanks very much for your time. So obviously It's
All
very
right,
early
man.
over there at the moment. It's 6:30 your time when when we started recording this. So no
Yeah.
doubt your family will be up in a moment or very
Yeah,
soon.
probably.
I'll
That's
let you
okay, man.
get back to them, man. All right.
All right, man. Hey, thank you so
Cheers,
much for
Ben.
the time.
Thanks
See you, bud.
again, man. Take it easy, brother.
All right, peace.